Alright, so welcome back to Driveway. We are here with the Crossfire, and that means we have a wing to install. So, we're going to have to make some uprights and show you how that works on this kind of weird way that I decided to rig it up. So, stick around and check this out. Alright, so there's the attachment. I'm going to let that cool off a little bit. We got it all nicely tigged together. It's kind of so much nicer than MIG because you don't have to worry about all the slag and everything. So there's nothing to clean up. But anyways, we got some good weld on there. Once it's cooled off, we can shove it all the way up to where it should sit. Then we'll start looking at what else we can start modifying in there. We got our uprights that we're going to use over there, 3/16 steel. And we'll just come up with something. Alright, so we're trying to kind of rough out the shape of what we want this thing to look like. We've got the square right in here. That's our square tube that we just finished rigging up. We're going to mount a bolt hole right in there. And we just need to figure out how to get this kind of transitioned. It's pretty much going to be one of those things where we need to chop down as much metal as we can. Mainly because this is pretty darn heavy. Alright, so I had to fire up some CAD drawings here and kind of came up with a design that I think will look pretty decent. And actually function. So the idea is we come down to our bumper section. We will come up right about here at this place here. Give it a little bit of a crease so it follows this body line. Little bit of crease there. A little bit of a crease there. And that'll pretty much be that. Because the idea is we are also going to want a piece of something we'll have some sort of tab on the back here, and that will hold it from rocking back and forth a little too much. So that's kind of what we're going to go for. I mean, hypothetically, we could have gone maybe a more of a tiered in. I don't know. But that's what we're going to go with. I'm going to trace it out a little bit and basically let it fly on the plasma cutter. Alright, so we got this piece, like we showed previously. I've welded end caps onto them, drilled and tapped the ends, so we have something to put our quasi-finished uprights. We'll be doing a couple more modifications to this before we call it done, but we are going to bolt it up and kind of get an idea of how it sits. So let's just screw the bolt in. Alright, so we're roughly looking about there. That doesn't look too horrible. I say that's not too shabby. So I guess our next job will be go through and get this angle brake so it follows the contour of the car. So I just think that will look kind of sharper if we can get this to tilt right there, even with the body line, and then come back up here and tilt it back straight. Then we'll be able to come through and put just a sheet metal bracket in this edge, bolt under the lip of that thing so it'll keep it from tilting back. I mean, I think it looks pretty good to me. Of course, the bracketry will raise it up just a couple more inches, which will put us right even with the roof line, kind of where we want it to be. We don't want it taller than the roof because that kind of, I feel it looks kind of funky. So, I guess I'm going to try to get the straight edge and see if we can get that brake to work pretty good, and then go from there. Nice. All right. Well, bending those was pretty darn easy. So, essentially what the plan's going to end up probably being I think I want to get a tube welded in right down here at the base of the bumper piece, and then we'll get one more probably right up here, right at that flat. This one might be a smaller one. We might go with probably go 1/2 inch on that top one. And we'll probably run this thicker bar down here. Because essentially, this one down here, if we get any rear ends, this will probably help save some of the disaster. And then with this little guy up here, that should be pretty good. I suppose hypothetically, I could probably come down to this point down here to try to keep it a little more out of the wind. but I don't think I'm going to see a sizable increase of drag with that. I mean, maybe a couple pounds. All right, well, as you can see, we got the hole hogged out in the 2 uprights for that center pipe piece to go through. And we're probably going to be out of time for today. Before we start welding all that stuff together, we have to get the actual main spoiler piece all rigged up, have the brackets that go on the top rigged up as well, so that way we can tie everything together with the wing, and then we can weld it in and things shouldn't shift back and forth or anything. So this is definitely going to have to be enough for today, and we'll come out with part 2 here very shortly. So thanks for stopping by and watching. Hopefully we'll get to see you again later.